What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In this episode, we're going to attempt to take a 2JZ Swap BRZ, drive it 1,000 miles down to San Diego to meet up with my friend and fellow YouTuber, TJ Hunt. Will we make it? I have no idea. Stay tuned. Let me start off with a fair word of warning that this video is going to be a little bit more on the vloggy side of my videos. I've done these types of videos before. Sometimes people really like them, sometimes not so much. I really like the idea of being able to bring you guys outside of the shop a little bit and into my life with cars, not just my life building cars. So I'd love to make more of these types of episodes, but if you guys like this, just hit the like button or let me know in the comments, and I'll read through that, I'll sift through the feedback and see if we continue to do them or not. All right, first thing that we got to do is the MAF on the car, I think, is bad, and that's what's causing all my rich problems. So I'm going to go pull the MAF off, and we're going to do some work on it. Before I get started and grab that MAF, I almost forgot this episode has an awesome sponsor. This episode is sponsored by the mobile game Terminator Genisys Future War. This is a game set in the Terminator times, and you get to choose whether you want to be the human team, the resistance team, or the machine team with Skynet. There are awesome huge battles between the machines and the humans every day in game, so it'll help keep you on your toes and give you something to do. The game's pretty cool because it doesn't take up too much of your time. You can just jump in when you want to, upgrade your machinery, upgrade your different buildings and everything like that, and build more troops, and then you can hop out of it. And best of all, you can get together, play with all your friends that you want to for the same team, and you can fight for the same team throughout the game. If you want to check it out, I highly advise it. There is a link in the description. If you use that, it's free to download as well, I should mention that. But if you use the link in the description, it'll also start you with 150 free coins. Coins can be used to expedite build process on buildings and troops and everything else like that. So that'll help get you on your feet a little bit faster in game. So guys, go check it out. The game is Terminator Genisys Future War. All right, let's get back to the BRZ and pull that MAF off. So this is the MAF off of the 2JZ Aristo version, and I'm pretty sure this is what's causing almost all our problems. If you guys remember when I bought this originally, it didn't work at all, and then we cleaned it, and it allowed the engine to run, and then ever since then, when we've been into boost, it's been running way too rich. And I think why that is because when you're in boost, it's running off of fuel maps only. It's not doing the looped corrections because there's just not enough time to do the corrections. So then it's just using basically the MAF. It measures the amount of air that comes in and gives it an amount of fuel based on that. And I think that this thing has always been wrong, and that's why we've always been running too rich. This is an Aristo one though. I have to have an Aristo one for the Aristo motor, which means it's only a Japanese part. So you can order them on eBay or find a Japanese importer, but I can't go down to the store and buy a new one. So I wish I could buy a new one, but for now it's just gonna be a clean reinstall and plug it back in, cross my fingers that it makes it down to California. When we get down to California, buying a new one of these will be one of the first things I do. MAF is reinstalled, looking good, time to pack. All right, we are on the road. Road trip has begun. Temps got a little scary there for a second. It's 1,000 miles down to San Diego. Chelsea, you think we're gonna make it without breaking down? No. Given that I've broken down about once a week in this car, I'm saying I'm gonna guess one breakdown on the way between here and the California border. At least two. Wish us luck. Well, I can't say I'm too surprised. It's just too damn hot outside. The car is not running well. We're at 230 ambient temperature under the hood, and we are at 215 on the gauge, 217 and climbing of the engine temperature. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the car off. We're not able to cool the car as much as it's heating up in this type of weather. So it's back to the drawing board on that one. I don't know what we're doing about the road trip, but for now we gotta let the car cool down. Doesn't look very good. I popped the radiator cap off and we lost most of our fluid because the fluid was boiling, and we're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no water. There's a farm over there though, and I'm gonna go ask if I can buy a gallon of water. The local farmer gave us a gallon of water. It's time to go fill up. The next rest stop area is 7 miles down the road, so we're gonna fill up and try and make it down there. Status update. It's actually the next day. What we did was we limped the car to a truck stop, which was 7 miles away. It was just the next exit off of the highway. And then I realized I was pretty close to my parents' house. So we let the car cool down once again, added in some fluid, and then drove it to my parents' house where we are now. They were kind enough to give me a ride back home. So last night I went back to the shop. I got all the tools that I think I could possibly need. And now it's time to diagnose what's going on. Is it just not enough airflow because we added a hood and a bumper? Is it a blown head gasket? Is it whatever? We're gonna find out right now. It's back to B is for Build Style, build an episode. We're ready to roll. Chelsea's here, she's gonna help me for just a second, and we are going to pull the hood off the car so I can get working hoodless. All right, hood is off, we're ready to start working. So here's the idea. It's either a blown head gasket or just a lack of being able to cool the car. That's kind of what I've narrowed it down to. So I've got tools to do a compression test. Couldn't do a leak down test because all the leak down testers are sold around where I live, so I can't find one. My thoughts though are, here's what was happening. We're driving in a very, very, very hot day. Those fans blow almost directly towards the engine, and I didn't really think about this until now, but when you look at this with the bumper on, you got intercooler till right there, and then you have impact bar right there. And if you look from this side, you probably can't see that, but the impact bar actually goes over the top of the radiator. So there's no direct flow air getting to that radiator. Now the fans can pull some air, but then they blow it straight into the engine, and it all kind of is just pulling up here, and you have a really, really hot water line right there as well. So there's just not a lot of space for that hot air to get out. I think that's what the problem is, but I've seen a lot of weird bubbling and strangeness coming out of this cooling system that I wouldn't expect. That's why I really want to do a head gasket test. So that's what we're going to do very first. First thing I got to do is get some of the fluid out of here. You're supposed to do a head gasket test with about half of the fluid in there. I probably won't be able to get that much out, but I'm going to get a good amount of fluid out of that system, and then I'll show you guys how you do a cheap head gasket test. All right, we're gonna do a chemical head gasket check. It checks the head gasket and some other thing, cracked pistons, other things like that. I'm not sure, I didn't really read all the instructions. But what this does is you put this guy on here, which it doesn't really fit in there too well, and then you fill that up to the line right here with this blue fluid. Run the car up to its operating temperature, and while you do that, you're going to be pulling air out of the radiator with this little guy. It's just a squeezy ball. It's gonna suck in air, and what that's going to do is basically, if you have a blown head gasket, combustion air from the combustion process in the engine is going to go through the head gasket and into your cooling system. That's why those bubbles were worrying me. Why I kept seeing bubbles really had me worried. So when that air comes up, if it is combustion air, it will turn this liquid a yellow color. So if we see a green color or a yellow color that comes through here, basically if the liquid turns green or yellow, then we know that we have a blown head gasket. Why I say I think this is one of the cheaper, easier ways to do it is you can go rent this thing from any normal auto parts stores. Will have these for rent, so you borrow this for free, and the fluid is $8. So it's cheaper than buying a leak down tester. Also with a leak down tester, you have to get your engine to top dead center, and there's absolutely no room in my engine bay to get a wrench on there to crank it over to top dead center. So this is a much, for me, much faster, easier way to do it. But if you had an engine that doesn't run at all, then you probably need to use a leak down tester. So now we're going to go ahead and perform this, and fingers crossed we don't have a blown head gasket. Alright, well that was an enjoyable 180-degree heat bath. What we figured out is the water is, you know, kind of expanding in there because we drained a bunch out and then it's still expanded up to the tool. But even when we took care of all that, we got the car up to 186 degrees, so the thermostat should be open. And under no cases did that blue water turn even a touch green by any means. So we do not have a blown head gasket. It's just hot as hell. So now it is time to use the vacuum tool, some legit antifreeze, and go ahead and refill this system. Antifreeze will help lower the boiling point. Before we used a tool, a method called water wetter. We're going to just go ahead and use Toyota antifreeze this time. We're going to refill the cooling system with antifreeze, and then I'm going to drive the piss out of it without a hood on, and we'll see how it goes. System refilled the proper way. So now we just have to test it. We're just testing, is the heat going to dissipate enough without a hood that this car is operable, or is this whole build foobar? This is actually going to be kind of fun for me because this will tell if we're going to be able to get to California or not. But also, I grew up in these backcountry roads, and to be back here driving them with a really crazy car like this, that is going to be pleasurable. We're at 165 degrees right now. Let's get out and rip, and I'll let you know how it goes. Feels cooler in the car. I hope you guys can hear me. I'll try and keep my voice loud. It's worth noting it's 90 degrees outside right now. We're at 172 degrees. Probably only gone about a half a mile though, so let's keep going. All right, we are at 208 degrees. That is obviously too much. Just doesn't have it in it. Just cannot keep this car cool if you're driving a lot under heavy throttle. It took a lot to get it there, but I do imagine that if I was going up a mountain pass or something like that, you know, you kind of got to have your right foot into it, and it's just not enough. Probably blocking too much of that radiator, or there's something else bad. I don't know. All right, guys, well, I apologize. This episode was full of a little bit of fail. I apologize to Chelsea too, man. She was planning on going to California, and we ended up just getting stranded on the road. But the cooling system that we have right now is not going to work. It could be an engineering design flaw. It could be quality of parts flaw. It could be a mixture of both of them. It can almost do it. It just can almost do it, but not quite. So, so the plan is. The game plan is now that I'm going to end this episode here and special order high quality parts to rebuild the cooling system, and we're going to re-engineer it as well. So in this channel, I always try and do things the first time on the cheap, and sometimes a little bit hacky method of doing things. And I always admit when it doesn't go well and we have to redo it, and this is one of those times. I used cheap eBay fans that were like $20 to $30 a piece on there. I don't think that those are going to be able to cut it. The radiator is all aluminum, but there's a better radiator option out there. So what I've gone and done basically is I've just special ordered the best radiator I could find, the best fans that I could find, and we're going to switch around some other stuff with that front impact bar as well. So guys, stay tuned. The next episode, we're going to figure this stuff out, but because I had to special order parts, it is going to take a couple more days for those parts to come in, which means it's going to take a couple more days for that episode to come out. So please bear with me. I'm really sorry about that. That is the downside of being on YouTube, is when you have to special order parts, it kind of screws up the schedule. But I will try and get that out as fast as possible. So in the next episode, we're going to be completely redesigning the cooling system, and it's going to be full of cooling win. I can promise that. So thanks so much for tuning into this episode. If you like BS for Build and you like what we do and you want to help out and support, head over to bsforbuild.com. Scroll down to the shop, pick yourself up any of the merchandise there. All the proceeds of that merchandise go directly towards supporting these builds and these types of parts when we have to go off and special order them. So thanks to you guys so much that do that. Also, if you want to find us at more places, Instagram and Facebook, we're BS for Build on both of those. I think that's it, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Peace!